بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome all of you. I welcome you with the program Fatwa Live that comes to you on Monday, the last day of June, from Mishkan Center in Houston, Texas. The first question: there's an offer from the bank to buy the apartments, 1 million janae, and it will be buy and rent. It will be written under the bank, and the contract says I have to pay the rent for 10 years. I pay each year about 100,000. After the 10 year I paid 1,200,000, and then it will be transferred to me. Is that kind of riba or no? The answer, I don't know if you are really accurate in your description about this, because you're talking about a normal bank, and then you're saying that they have this offer for you. Because the bank all over, they do not do that. Because the laws, their internal laws, they cannot own for investment. He is a merchant in the loans. They take it with the interest and they give it back in interest. And the difference is their profit. And does not own what you have except the Islamic banks. They have special laws that makes an exception for this kind of investment, where they can own for investment. Anyway, if we're talking about the rent that you enter with owning, that's an Islamic form of contract that the Islamic banks has came up with, and the fiqh committees, they accepted it, and they have a decision from the Islamic International Fiqh Committee that they did the following, that is allowed and there's restriction. There's one that is not allowed, one is allowed. This to have two different contracts in one time on one item and at the same time. What is allowed? To have two contracts, different, separate. Each one of them is separate from the other. Time, it will be the sale after the rent, or the promise of ownership after the end of the time. It has to be a real rent. The liability on the owner, and the rental, he get what is the not what he is abusing, but not the wear and tear. If the contract has if there is insurance, has to be both ways, and to be the owner, and the rent, it has to be during the whole time. The expenditure of the maintenance on the rental, not so the guarantee is on the owner, not the renter. And so if it required an insurance, it has to be combined with the owner and the renter. So the owner take care of it, not the renter. Uh, it has to end with the ownership after the rent, after the period. The maintenance on the owner, not on the renter, the whole time of renting. And this is the mainly what they came up. What is allowed is the rent that allows you to benefit from the thing for a known rental for a certain period. And you do the whole rental with a different contract or a promise to pay the whole time. And to give the owner the choice after paying all the payments to the buy the with the value, and it will give you the benefit to benefit from it for a known benefit for a known time, and there's a promise to sell the item to the renter after paying all the rental period with a price they all agree on, and that will allow the benefit to benefit from the period time and gives you the right for rental and anytime he wants. But the sale has to be with a new contract with the value of the market value. And this is what it came up. So I hope you go and look at the contract, what is exposed to you, and the offer that you had, and make sure it was qualify the guidance that the fatwa committee did. Second question about the zakah. I pay my apartment with no interest. Every time I get more money, I put it in the Islamic bank. And the company, they take the money every 3 months based on the check that's written. The I had 130,000 and they're supposed to take about 95. I have the gold about 60 grams. My my mother, she gave me a house, an old house, and for me and my sisters inequality without documenting this. There's no rent because it's too old. So how do you do this zakah? And are we supposed to gather all the gold with the money and each one has to have its own time? And is the money that is changed? Well, the answer, you gather the gold and the cash in one equal to see it reach the minimum, which is 85 grams of gold, or the equal. And you take from the zakah, you take out the loan or the long term that you're not expected to get from it, and the if the if the house it's old, so it's not part of the zakah. And you look at the end of the year, you still have the minimum or no? If you do, and the beginning and the end, then you have to pay the zakah. And some who said that if it is less than the minimum, then it's not for the whole year, and you start new from the time that you have the minimum after it's decreased. And Allah knows the best. A Christian came one time and one said Assalamu alaikum. So The Christian with me, he replied, is that enough, or am I a Muslim supposed to reply to? Well, the answer to reply with a greeting from the obligation that is enough. So if somebody did it, then it's not required on the rest. And the ones who get rewarded are the ones who answered. You could have answered even if he's not a Muslim, especially if he intended you, as you said, because Allah said, if you are greeted with a greeting, greet with better than it or like it. Allah is counting everything. And the Prophet ﷺ, he forbid that we start with it. He said not to do it, not to start. But if they greeted, then we reply as they did, because that's the justice and fair. And Islam is fairness and just. It was said that Ibn Abbas saying, if someone from said to you, may Allah bless you, I would have said, and on you, because of the saying of Allah, if somebody greeted you, to greet him back with something equal or better. The place of work, they agreed with the transportation. Can he use a cheaper way of transportation so he could have the place? If they give you a replacement for food or transportation, you can save some for your needs, because from what you own, and you're given that as a replacement, and then you own it, so you could use it any way you want. We are inheritance on a house 3-story. The grandfather gave my father the apartment and the big place, and to my aunt another apartment and a small house. We need to sell the house. The inheritance, my mother and one son, 2 daughters, and they are married. My aunt, and she had a daughter and a son. And now I'm confused about the way that they have decided. Do I accept, or do I ask for what is due to me? And no one's better than Allah Azza wa Jal in His ruling. My daughter, if the person dies, what he has left is money that's for inheritance, according to the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, after taking care of the loans and the wills. And Allah Azza wa Jal take care of that himself. He decided that. He didn't leave it for an angel nor a messenger, and gave everybody the rights. But after that, if some of the inheritors agreed, or all of them, without forcing, that they forgive each other and to give to the weak. Yes, the male, they say, yes, our sisters, they have half, but we accept that it will be, Allah gave us a lot, alhamdulillah, we agree that it will be equal. We will give some of our rights, that is allowed, or to whomever they wish from the inheritance. That's their money, and no Muslim's money is allowed except with his acceptance. And of course, the kinship will benefit the area. But the charity, not to take people's rights and justly, because Allah Azza wa Jal had decided the share of everybody. After Allah give me my share, I could give some part of it to a relative or Tawik, who is not a relative, seeking Allah's face and the goodness. Taking the Aza in the masjid with the food. What is the rule about that? The food should not be given from the household of the deceased. It will be given to them, not the other way around. Because the Prophet ﷺ said to give to Al Ja'far the food because they are very busy with the funeral. It should not be masjid, but it is okay. The family of the deceased will be condoled wherever they meet them in the house and their street. But because the community is spread and the families are widespread, and it is needed to have a place so people could come to condole each other. So I hope this is from what is allowed, but I stress the food will not be done by the people who deceased, but will be from the people given to them to condole them and what they give them. And as the Prophet said, make food for Al Ja'far. And how about taking the food from the Shia in the days of Muharram? The Shia, their food is permissible, their haram is if they slaughter for some beside Allah, the Hussein or Ali, no. If they did that on their slaughtering, this is a disease. You don't eat it. If they did it for Allah Azza wa Jal, but they have some of the innovations, okay. The origins, it is permissible. But the timing could be something denied on them. Leave them in their seasons unless it is required because of neighborhood or some of the kinship to soften their heart on Sunnah and to correct their false beliefs. The third question, I have a website to sell fruits online. What is about the Facebook advertisement? It goes from cell phone to something that is forbidden. It could be something sponsored by Facebook and so on. So when do they have to own the the fruits, and I don't take the money until it's given? Well, to advertise, it is allowed, and take from the avenues that are less harmful, less corrupted. These advertisements from is the corrupted that is very hard to make any advertisements that are pure according to Islamic. So take the least harm and the least of things that are forbidden and do the halal to sell to whomever you want of the permissible to anybody, as long as it is something permissible. But to sell before you own it, you should not sell something before you own it. Unless you declare the advertisement on a product, you describe it really, describe it with no doubt about it. Whoever buys from you and give you ahead of time, not a problem to buy it from him from the market. And that's the contract of Salam, which is sell something that are described that will be paid ahead of time. But to sell the something specific, it can't be before you own it. And also, if you represent a certain company, so a representative of that company, you can sell, and you take the commission or the marketing or the selling. But originally, you don't sell what you don't own. Hakim and Hussam asked the Prophet ﷺ, the man came to me and asked me the thing that I don't have. So I buy it for him from the market and I sell it to him. He said, Hakim, don't sell what you don't own. I work in the company as an employee full time, and I have my electronic business. Sometimes I don't have work, I have free time, so I look at the issues on my other job. I'm still in the, is it allowed to do that? Well, the time of your work, it should not be done with anything. If you're taken to that job and you're paid so you could do that job, but that's time of waiting. If it is known that the work, that it is okay to work at time of free time, of anything you want to use it in recite the Quran, or to study so you could get a degree, or to promote something else, does not compete with the company you work for. If that's required, and that is what is known, then it should be no problem, inshallah. So we come to the conclusion, inshallah. We'll continue in a couple of hours. Please join us in a couple of hours for the rest of the Fatwa Live. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.